Yo, what's going on? Hey guys, how you doing? Want to talk to you guys about a trade management thing that I think is really important when you're taking a trade. So like today, I had a really good day set up. I ended up turning what was a nice gain in this QTT into a loss, minus 377. I was actually up 800 bucks on it, and I took a loss on it. So it's about a $1,200 turnaround, which really kind of changes around the day, right? I would have had a big day. Instead, I just had like barely a flat day, all because of a trade management issue. And this happens to me sometimes, and it's something I have to be cognizant of all times because it's so important. We all know like when to enter a stock, right? You're drawing trend lines and you're getting setups, but sometimes then what happens is we take profit and then we want to re-hit it again and again, but it's not availing itself to us, and then we can't. So if a stock is trending all day, you want to keep re-hitting it over and over, right? Like so, like a TLRY, see how it's trending all day. You want to be taking as many trades as you can. You want to buy, right, and then rebuy at VWAP and rebuy as it's doing different stuff. You can do that because you can see the slope of its curvature, the slope of its ascent is up. But like this QTT trade, I was buying this as a bounce trade essentially off this 9 spot, right? And we had an easy kind of trade. So you can see like after that big run that we just talked about, this thing came all the way back and was really basing around at this 9. So as it's basing around at that 9, when the 9's holding that 9 support, that there's a potential entry there. And so, we ended up taking this trade. And so I missed the original pop in this thing as it broke over this 9 EMA. But, what I ended up doing, which was a really good trade, was, as this thing popped up over the VWAP and then it kind of curled back down here and built a little flag, we hit this thing for the first time as it broke its trend line. And so I got this thing at like 990, give or take, and it ran right to 1080 in like a hot second. Okay, that's awesome. So I have 1,500 shares of this thing at 1080, right? We've got ourselves a nice gain. I'm up 800 bucks. Awesome, right? So it's a really good trade. But now what happens is like, as this thing came back and it popped back to the 9 and was starting to hang out, I re-added this thing, right? So I re-added this thing, and that was a mistake because, this type of pullback here, it doesn't work midday. Midday, you need deeper pullbacks. You want to wait for that VWAP, and, I ended up rebuying this thing too high, and so then it just came back into the VWAP, and, it's no go, right? And then what ends up happening is, we kind of re-enter this thing as it starts to pop back up, and lo and behold, like it comes back and it hangs out and boom, it pops back under the VWAP, and I get stopped out, and all of a sudden my gain turns into a loss. But the moral of the story was that this thing was not trending to the upside. It wasn't making higher highs and higher lows where I want to keep adding to it and keep building on the trade. As traders, our job is to not only manage risk, but to take on risk when the trade avails itself to us. But if we just want to add so that we can double our gains or more, right, then what ends up happening is you don't have a proper setup because we trade momentum stocks. And so momentum stocks means we need to trade momentum setups. Well, this thing is not trending. If anything, the trend is down. It just is having a little bit of a bounce, and then it pulls back. I'm already re-adding, but I'm not supposed to be re-adding in something like this, right? And so that becomes really important, is that you're supposed to add when you have patterns, but we're only trading patterns when the trend is starting to set. So if you're in the beginning of the trend, right, then that's okay. But like if the pullback is that steep from 1090 to 990 and then it bounces up and down, there's no trend happening yet. It hasn't set yet. Most likely the trend is still down. And so we can't be re-adding this. And so that's a tried and true thing that traders do, is they have this awesome trade, or they have a trade they take gains on and they get a little greedy and they push it and then they give back their profits. And that's kind of what happened to me on this trade today was, you know, I gave back the profit, but even worse, I turned it into a negative. And so a couple of things I could have done, trade a little bit smaller on my re-add. And then if it starts to trend, I can keep adding higher, right? And I can keep adding on dips as the trend holds. But without it trending and making higher highs and higher lows, then I'm just really, I got a dead cat bounce, and then I'm adding just to add. And that's a big no-no. Your trade management is what's going to make your P&L for the day, because we all know like where to add, but remember there's times to add and places to add that are really important. And if you can't do that, then you're going to do kind of what I did, which was you're going to have a profit and then you're going to give it back, and then you just end up being nowhere, right? And so that becomes really important. You don't want to turn your gains into losses, and you definitely don't want to just add something just to add something. You know what I mean? There's a lot better stocks to play on any given day. On a day like today, I mean, you can see there's all these stocks that are moving around, right? That this thing is red on the day, right? It finished down at 1.5%. So that's not a stock I want to be that aggressive on. You know, if I got a good gain out of it, then I got a good gain out of it. But I don't want to just keep adding to add. So hopefully that helps, guys. We have some webinars coming up, so I hope to see you guys in there. Let me know if that helps. Feel free to leave me any comments or email me on it, kunal@bullson.ws. You know, these type of setups with these IPOs and stuff, we teach this in our 60-day boot camp, and we spend a lot of time on it. But if you're not in the class, that's totally cool. You can always hit me up. I'm in your corner. I'll make sure to get you back and answer your questions, or feel free to leave any comments. Take care.